Hey, what is going on, guys? It's DK. Back at you with another video here. It's right on Game 2 of the NBA Finals Showdown slate between the Lakers and the Heat. Before I get into the video, if you guys are new to the channel, my name is DK. I make daily videos breaking down NBA, NFL, PGA, and esports, daily fantasy sports slates. Real quick, before we get into the analysis, I want to say thank you guys again for all support. Currently, right now, 5.12 thousand subscribers. The easiest way to support me, since all the content is free, is just leave a like button on the video, subscribe to the channel if you haven't already, and hit that notification bell so you know when I upload a video. You know when I upload videos, you know when I go live. Also, hit me with a follow on Twitter and on Instagram. Do just make Instagram. I'll probably be doing some videos, or not some videos, some giveaways there on Instagram. So make sure to follow me on Instagram, guys. It is in the description below. Also, if you guys cannot watch the YouTube videos, I upload on Apple Podcasts. The link is in the description below. It's the DK DFS show. But with that out of the way, let's jump into the video. So before we talk about players, their prices for Game 2, let's look back at my lineup here from Game 1. So Game 1, injuries really sucked, right? Bam Adebayo got injured. He had a really hot start, like 6 points and 3 boards in the first 4 minutes, and then just completely faded away, and then got injured right away to start the second half. Also, Dragic got injured. They're both doubtful. We'll talk about that more in a bit for this slate. I want Anthony Davis in the captain. I told you guys you were playing a cash game setting to play both AD and LeBron. I faded LeBron. Obviously didn't work out because the Heat got blown out. Went with Hero, Rondo, Dwight, and Caruso. Winning lineup for the Millie Maker had, I believe it was Nunn in there with AD and the captain, LeBron. He actually won it solo, so congrats to Big Sean 813. He had AD in the captain, LeBron, Jimmy Butler, Danny Green, Iguodala, and Kendrick Nunn. Yeah, so guys, like Nunn, Kelly Olynyk, we're not going to see minutes if the game stayed close. Or something happened to any of those guys, and the game blew out. Also, Bam got injured, Dragic got injured, right? So if you played Nunn, if you played Kelly Olynyk, did get a little bit lucky there, but that's DFS, right? There's always variance involved. So congrats to Big Sean 813 on winning that solo. I do want to go over quickly just because for games that blow out, there's always a big edge in those fourth quarter showdowns. I mentioned a couple times. This was my lineup. I had Kelly Olynyk in the captain. This is just for the fourth quarter. Hero, Kuzma, Caruso, Markieff Morris, and Kendrick Nunn. So probably would have taken this down if for some, I don't know why, the Lakers kept in LeBron and AD most that fourth quarter up by 20 plus. The game was never in question. The Heat did cut it to 14 or 15 with a couple minutes left. But like I said, it was never in question. So that was a little bit tilting. But there's always a big edge here. Like Bam Adebayo in the fourth quarter in-game showdown was 20% owned. Again, LeBron and AD, I think the people that played him got bailed out. They were 30 to 40% owned. Jimmy Butler is 40% owned. So in games that are going to be a big blowout, obviously you want to target the backups here. That's kind of what I did. So just thought I'd mention that. I always, in games that are not competitive, these fourth quarter in-game showdowns, there's a huge edge. So one back a little bit on my money there again. I'm not going big in the showdowns. I actually only entered the Millie Maker once. That was it. But that's really the look back there for my lineup. There's no Vegas odds out yet because we got that Bam news, we got the Dragic news. So my best guess is with both of them doubtful, and I do not expect either to play. I would say the Lakers are probably going to be double-digit favorites, right? I think there were 5 or 6 point favorites in Game 1 with two of Miami's best players out. I would assume we'd probably get Lakers 12-point favorites around there. I think it is going to be in double digits. So, all right, let's talk about these players. So LeBron, AD at the top, they're going to be super popular. And the reason being, there is now a lot of great value on the slate. And it's super easy to get them both in there. They were already chalk last slate, right? LeBron was high 70s, AD was low 60s in ownership. It's going to go up for both of them just because we have no Bam and no Dragic likely. So that's going to open up a ton of value there for Miami, making it easy to get both these guys in. So they're going to be the ultimate chalk, both LeBron and AD. I think, again, for a cash game setting, you do play both just because the offense is so condensed. We know what the production is. It's these two guys for majority of the game. So there's nothing bad to say about these guys. They're super easy to fit. If you want to take a risky stance and fade one of them, fine. Right? I don't necessarily think you have to play both. I definitely think that's a safe approach and probably the way that I'm going to go. But it's not 100% necessary, right? There's a way where only one of those guys is in the GPP winning lineup. But again, safe route is just to play them both, even at 13K, 12.2K. They're super, super easy to fit in with the value, which we'll talk about here in a bit. Again, Bam Adebayo doubtful. It's kind of sad. I was really hoping for a nice final series here. I still think this Heat team can make it competitive. They're a resilient team. Kelly Olynyk in a good run, Kendrick Nunn. Those guys are still good players. So I think Miami will keep this one close. I guess we'll talk about how you think the game plays out, because there's definitely a lot more blowout risk involved too. So no Bam Adebayo, or most likely not. If he does play, he makes for a nice contrarian play because no one's going to play him, dealing with a shoulder injury and was a neck injury, right? So if he does play, I think he's going to be super, super, super low owned. I would like him as a contrarian option, but don't think he's going to go. We'll talk about Kelly Olynyk, who I think is, just play him and move on. Jimmy Butler at 9.8, so with no Bam Adebayo and no Dragic, most likely he is going to have to take over. Right now, I mentioned a lot in these playoff videos that Jimmy at times can kind of be reluctant, can kind of defer offensively. Well, he doesn't have that option for this game. He is going to have to take over. He's going to have to do a lot more with those two main guys out. So I really like Jimmy at 9.8. Even at this price, I just think he's going to have to do a lot. If you think the game blows out, then there's merit to fading Jimmy Butler, right? Maybe you play LeBron, you play AD, and then you play value. But if you think this game does stay close, I think getting Jimmy Butler in your lineup makes sense because he's just going to have to do a ton more offensively and be, again, a lot more aggressive. So I like the price even at 9.8. I think he makes for one of the better spend-ups. Hero's at 8.6, so he's close to Jimmy. No Dragic obviously does help Hero. I don't think he starts, so I think they're going to start Kendrick Nunn like they did in the regular season. I think Hero still comes off the bench. I think he gets his normal 30 to 35 minutes. I do prefer Jimmy for a little bit more. I think he's just a safer option right now. Now, Jimmy did roll his ankle, so that is something to keep an eye on. I think he'll be fine, but he did hobble a bit there at the end of the first half. Yeah, Hero's a guy that has upside. He went for over 50 that one game against Boston, but I think Jimmy is the much safer option for a little bit more. Jay Crowder at 7.4 is fine. The price jumped. I liked him at 6.2. 7.4 is doable. I don't know if his role changes a whole lot, right? I don't think he's going to be do a lot more offensively, right? I think the role changes big time. Obviously, for Jimmy, he's going to have to do more. I think Hero, when he's out there, is going to have to do more. And I think those guys that are going to come in, obviously, going to get a huge boost with Olynyk and with Kendrick Nunn. Jay Crowder's role doesn't change a whole lot to me. 7.4, he's going to be a contrarian option because for me, I would rather spend up for like a Butler or go all the way up to AD LeBron or spend down. There's a ton of great value. So Jay Crowder's just in this weird range, the mid-range. He's going to be low owned. I'm not super excited about it. Again, Dragic is listed as doubtful. Don't expect him to go either. So we'll talk about Kendrick Nunn, who I also think is a really, really good value play. Rondo at 6.6 did get a nice price hike from 5.4K. Played 25 minutes, which is good to see, but the price jumped. I don't think he's necessarily an amazing play. I think he's a fine option. If he does get closer to 30 minutes, I think he can definitely pay out the value. But is he needed in the slate? I don't know. Right? I think this is definitely setting up for the Stars and Scrubs build, just with there being so much value. So this mid-tier is going to be contrarian. If you land on Rondo, that's fine. But again, I'm not going to really prioritize him. The good things with Rondo, obviously, he's a do-it-all guy. Doesn't necessarily have to score. He'll get you a floor with those assists. He can get you some steals. So, yeah, fine play in the mid-range. Duncan Robinson, the price did drop to 5.8. Again, I don't know if his role really changes a whole lot. He's still a guy that's going to run around screens and try to shoot threes. Well, I mentioned his floor is super low, right? 27 minutes, 5 fancy points. If he's not hitting his threes, he has a floor of below 10 fancy points. So risky. I do think he probably is going to take a couple more shots though, with no Bam and with no Dragic. But again, his role, in general, he's not going to be a guy that's going to be driving to the hole or being super more aggressive offensively. That's going to be more Jimmy in my opinion. So another guy, it's a tricky price range. You have Nunn, you have Olynyk that look a lot better in my opinion for the prices. So Duncan, again, more of a contrarian play for his price. KCP and Danny Green. KCP, both of them actually had really nice days. KCP played 30 minutes at 22 fantasy points. Danny Green, I think, had 2 blocks and 2 steals, 3 blocks and 2 steals, 28 fantasy points. More of an outlier for him, but again, these guys are 3-and-D guys. That's what they're out there for. They're out there for the defense. They're out there to shoot threes. Both of them hit their threes, and they had upside. So I think the ownership might go up a bit on them. I'm not overly excited. Like, I would just much prefer getting to Kendrick Nunn, assuming he starts at 5K, and much prefer getting down to Kelly Olynyk at 3K. It's not a contrarian take. Both those guys, which I mentioned, Nunn and Olynyk, are going to be the ultimate chalk. But I do prefer them to the 3-and-D guys in KCP and Green. But they're definitely not out of play, right? You know we're getting into these guys. The floor is somewhat low if they're not hitting their threes. But they should get both about 25 to 30 minutes. Now, Nunn, right, mentioned him a couple times now. I think he's one of the best value plays of the day. I assume he's going to start. He did shoot the ball really well in garbage time, 20 minutes, 28 fantasy points. But this guy was really good in the regular season. He struggled in the postseason and then kind of fell out of the rotation. But in the regular season, he had upside, right? And he's a good defender, too. I assume he's going to start. And I assume if he does start, we probably get at least 25 minutes, I would say. No, you never know. I guess if he plays terribly to start, they could pull him, or if the game blows out, I think he still would probably play if the game blows out. But yeah, I think Nunn is definitely a really, really solid play. Now, I do prefer Kelly Olynyk for the discount. $2,000 difference, and Kelly Olynyk is still a better point per minute guy, and I assume Kelly Olynyk's going to start. Sure. I guess it's not a guarantee. They could do something different. Maybe they start a guy like Myers Leonard, or they go small ball, but I assume Kelly Olynyk is going to start for Miami with no Bam Adebayo. So I do prefer him if you're going to make me pick, but I think both are going to be really, really popular. I like both a lot. I think, that this is going to be the way I would start a cash game lineup is with these 4 guys. Again, they're all going to be the ultimate chalk. Like, you don't necessarily have to play all these guys. For cash games, I would play all 4 of these guys. That's assuming both of them start, right? We're going on some assumptions, but I assume none. I assume Kelly Olynyk will start. That's what I would do for a cash game lineup. And again, that's not a contrarian take at all. Let's see. So we mentioned Nunn, right? Kuzma's at 4-4. Again, he's been struggling shooting the ball. Now, did put up 18 fantasy points in 22 minutes. I think we get about 20 or so minutes from him. Kind of a similar player to KCP and Green. Now, not as good a defender, obviously, but a little bit more scoring dependent, even though he did have 8 rebounds. More of an outlier. Again, I'm fine with him. I think he does fly under the radar in the slate. Like, if he does have a good shooting day, like, he can go for like 25 plus, but we really haven't seen it recently, right? 4 of 11, 3 of 7, 1 of 7. So now if the game does blow out, there's probably a decent chance he does get a little extra run too. So yeah, Kuzma is certainly somebody you can look to. I think he does fly under the radar because you have a lot of good value plays with Nunn, with Olynyk, with some of those other Lakers guys where I think he flies on the radar. Caruso, I like him again at 3.8. I don't necessarily think he's a must play, right? He was my favorite value play last slate, but with Nunn, with Olynyk, those guys are better value plays in my opinion. That doesn't make Caruso out of play. I think we're going to get 20 to 25 minutes. He's out there for his defense. He's a good defender. He can get you some other stats, right, with rebounding and assist. He can also score the ball. So, yeah, I think Alex Caruso is a pretty nice value play there at below 4K. Dwight Howard, so didn't play as many. I mentioned, I thought 15 to 20 minutes from Dwight. He played 15. So it looks like he's going to kind of get that what JaVale McGee role of playing in the first quarter, first shift, and the third quarter, first shift. Now, sure, could that change? I guess, but I don't see it now with Bam out especially. And I guess with Bam Adebayo out, does he even start? Right? Maybe the Lakers go small ball or go move like a guy like Markieff Morris in the starting lineup. That's possible because obviously Kelly Olynyk is a guy that can stretch the floor. I don't really know if that's like a good matchup for Dwight to be out there. So I think there's a decent chance he doesn't start. Now, that would change some things, right? If Dwight Howard doesn't start, makes him a lot riskier. I still think he'd be in the rotation. But then, if you think the game blows out, I think Dwight would play in the blowout. I guess you never know, right? That's just thinking kind of far ahead. A lot of aspects into it, but we'll see what the Lakers do with the starting lineup. If he does start, I think we get about 15 minutes again. If he doesn't start, I think the minutes are a little bit up in the air. But then if the game blows out, I think he probably gets the blowout run. And he's a good point per minute guy. So Dwight is kind of a wait-and-see play right now. I'm interested to see what the Lakers do with the starting lineup and to see what Miami does with their starting lineup with no Bam, no Dragic. Let's see. Iguodala's at 3-4. He had a really nice game. I was surprised. He has really stepped up the last couple of games. He shot the ball really well 2 games ago. In game one, he filled up the stat sheet, 7.6 assists, 5 rebounds. He's going to have to do more with no Bam and with no Goran Dragic, most likely. So I think Iguodala has if the game stays close, his upside to go over 30 minutes. And at 3.4K, I think he is actually a pretty solid value play. I still prefer Kelly Olynyk, we'll talk about in a sec. I still probably prefer Kendrick Nunn, assuming both those guys start. But Iguodala is definitely another value guy that I'm looking to. Now, Markieff Morris, I think there's a chance maybe he starts if he goes Kelly Olynyk. I think that's probably a better matchup here for Markieff Morris to start, or the Lakers to do something else. Again, a lot up in the air, but I think we get about 15 minutes from him. If the game blows out, probably a little bit more. So he's a riskier value option. I'm not prioritizing Markieff Morris. Kelly Olynyk, right? I think he's probably the top value play of the day easily. That's assuming he starts. Well, you saw what happened when he came in, right, with no Bam Adebayo. He's a really good point per minute guy. Well, 18 minutes, 19 fantasy points. 4 points, 5 boards, 4 assists, 2 blocks. Yeah, just play him and move on. Don't get cute. Again, that's assuming he starts. Even if he comes off the bench, if the Heat do something weird and start like a small ball lineup, or maybe they start Myers Leonard. They did that again in the regular season for a bit. I still think Kelly Olynyk is probably the best value play because he's just such a good point per minute guy. If he does start and the game stays close, I probably think we'd get 25 to 30 minutes. Again, at 3K, it's just a simple play him and move on. He's the top value of the slate. Let's see, Solomon Hill, it becomes more viable to get more run, obviously, because of the garbage time, but I'm not going to prioritize him over Kelly Olynyk. Now, sure, right, maybe there's an outside chance they start Solomon Hill at the 5. Even if they do, again, I'm playing Kelly Olynyk over him because Solomon Hill, not a great fantasy point per minute guy, 18 minutes, 7 fantasy points. Yeah, playable, but I just prefer the other value. Jones Jr., he probably gets more run too at 2.2K. Again, though, it's Kelly O. It's none for me. I do prefer those guys. Maybe Miami does something different. Maybe they start one of either Jones Jr. or Solomon Hill instead of Kelly Olynyk, but I don't really see that. So something to keep an eye on. But Jones Jr., Solomon Hill, in my opinion, are just more contrarian plays. I do think the minutes go up. By how much is the question, right? So they're playable, but they're riskier for sure. JaVale McGee at 2K. He didn't play last game. I don't think he plays in this game unless it's like a super, super big blowout. But either way, yeah, I'm not going to do that. Haslam, I don't think Udonis Haslam plays. I guess there's I think Kelly Olynyk probably starts. I think Myers Leonard, if they need a backup big, would probably be the backup big over Udonis Haslam. I just don't see him playing. Horton Tucker got a little bit of run there in the garbage time. Or I thought he did. I could have sworn he did. Maybe I'm wrong. Let me confirm that. I'm actually curious. I thought I saw him hit a garbage 3 there at the end. I guess I am wrong. Huh. I could have sworn he played. Well, either way, I'm not considering him. Again, Quinn Cook, these guys you don't have to do it. They might get a couple minutes in super, super garbage time, but these are not guys I would consider. Again, Myers Leonard, possibly, maybe a slight chance that they start him. They want Kelly Olynyk off the bench. If that's true, if they do start him instead of Kelly Olynyk, then I think Myers Leonard is actually a decent play here at 1K because he doesn't have to do a whole lot to get you there. If Kelly Olynyk starts, I think there's a chance that Myers Leonard does come in off the bench, or if the game blows out, he probably does get run. So it's all about how you think the game plans out. Again, I need to see the starting lineup too, but depending on news, Myers Leonard could be playable here at 1K. That's it. I think Waiters play at the end there. No, he didn't. Yeah, I think that about wraps it up for the player-by-player breakdown. So captain spot, I think for me, what I would do, again, it's going to be stars and scrubs build, so either go LeBron, AD, or Jimmy Butler in the captain, or go value in the captain with Nunn or Kelly Olynyk. That's what I would do. So, yeah, if you want to play Kelly Olynyk in the captain, which I think is actually going to be popular, because I think, we're assuming Bam's out, we're assuming Dragic's out. If that's the case, and Olynyk starts, he is the best value play. If you plug him in a captain, that's 9.1K remaining. You can basically jam in both Lakers guys, jam in Jimmy. That's going to be a popular build. Or you go with one of these studs with LeBron, AD, or Jimmy Butler. Say you throw Jimmy Butler in there with LeBron and AD. 3.6K remaining. You can still make that work, so that's always a build you can go with too. And yeah, I think that's gonna do it for the video today, guys. So if you have been enjoying the content so far, I'd really appreciate it if you leave a like button on the video, subscribe to the channel if you haven't already, and hit that notification bell so you know when to upload videos, you know when to go live. I might be live streaming this one tomorrow. I'll let you guys know. Make sure to follow me on Twitter as well as on Instagram. Again, guys, I will be doing some giveaways here on Instagram, so make sure to hit that follow button down there. Thanks again, guys. I hope you guys have a good day, and I will see you all later.